Happy Friday, everybody. I've been tagged lots of times in different TikTok videos. Now, you know TikTok is no stranger to strange videos. So let's take a look at one or two of these, shall we? And we're going to have a look and see what these people are saying on these videos, because I'm always telling you not to pay attention to nonsense videos. This might not be nonsense, but let's take a look and we'll find out together.
If you don't mind, Chris, there's been quite a few questions about this on the video that I've showed. So I just want to go through first that, you know, some of the questions that came up most often. Do you mind answering some of those?
Absolutely, that's fine.
So the first question is from Kylie. Kylie says, okay, so how do we refuse to pay tax when it's automatically deducted from our wages? And this is a question that has been asked repeatedly from people who are on the PAYE system.
So just pausing there for thought. First of all, this is obviously a video about how to avoid paying tax. And secondly, the second aspect is obviously about it being deducted at source on PAYE. And this person here, which proves my point that some people genuinely believe these videos, this person here genuinely asking, so how do we refuse to pay when it's automatically deducted from our wages? So genuinely trying to inquire how one is to refuse paying tax. Just as a side note on the copyright issue, my best efforts to accredit copyright on this video. I'm not sure which was the original one here. It's either this Paul 773 or this Gordon Dimmack. I've got the reference. Let me know in the comments if you pick up the reference of where that probably comes from. Let's carry on.
Yes, I mean, it's a second level stuff. We can't actually refuse it ourselves. What we've got to do is to ask or inform the employer of the illegality of deducting PAYE and national insurance from your wages. Now, that is a criminal offence under sections 15 to 17 of the Terrorism Act. And they are...
Right, just pausing for those that won't know. 15, 16, and 17 of the Terrorism Act is fundraising and making arrangements and holding funds that are going to be used for terrorist activity. That's what that is. So essentially, this sounds like he's now accusing the government of using those funds for terrorist activity, and that's why it's a criminal offence. But let's see what else he has to say.
Are committing a criminal offence by, first of all, deducting the money, and a second criminal offence by handing that to the Revenue and Customs.
So this is a perfect example of read a bit of law, try to apply it to a generic situation, use your own interpretation, your own assumptions, smash the two together, and then say, aha moment, the government's committing criminal offences because they're using money that they're collecting by taxes and then funding terrorism or something like that. This is, with respect, is wholly misconceived. It's taking two different ideas, slamming them together and coming up with the wrong conclusion. It's akin to what people do when they Google an answer for legal advice. But let's see what else he has to say.
Knowing that some of it will be used for the purposes of terrorism and war. So because we know that, they have a legal duty to withhold it. So what we have is a letter, and I'll make sure that it goes up on the website, that to your employer, informing them of the criminal offences and asking them to set up a trust, a corporate trust, for all employees for the PAYE and national insurance that is deducted from their wages and salaries.
Right, so that's all I really need to hear. Please don't pay attention to videos like this, because videos like this, if you as an employee go to your employer and you try to write them a letter and tell them to withhold your tax on this basis, the argument somehow that the government is committing criminal offences and therefore it's unlawful for your employer to withhold the tax and so on and so on. This is just going to give you a bad reputation in your place of work. So I strongly recommend that you don't pay attention to these kind of videos, but there's more. Let's take a look at what else we have here. This one was quite outrageous. Let's take a look at this.
This is how you get discounted whips.
Right. So let's just wind that back. See what's happened. He's walking up to these plasterboards, I think they are. And you can see this one sticking out at the end.
This is how you get discounted whips.
Kick to the corner off. dragging it with other products. Must be a fantastic builder. Bonding, finish, click, click. Oh, I think you missed that. I think I was talking. Listen. Let's wind back again. Can I get a discount on that board? And she said she'll see what she can do. So clearly, he's damaged the board and then gone to ask for a discount. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is outright fraud and criminal damage, because it's fraud can be either giving a misleading statement for a gain or loss to someone else, or not providing information. Now, he knows that he's just damaged it. He knows that he's just broken this thing, which would amount to criminal damage. So if he knows this and he doesn't tell them, then either way round, it's both criminal damage and fraud. So don't recommend you do that for your discount at Wix for the £3.50 that you'll probably get off that board. If the rest of his work is anything like the way that he treats shops, I wouldn't be booking him as a builder. Let's take a look at what the next one has to provide.
So, I've had a couple of people ask me both on my live yesterday and on a video I made recently about the legal withholding of tax. Can you do it? Is it legal to do it? So on and so forth.
I think this is the same kind of thing.
And basically, I'd like to bring some information to you guys today for anybody who may be wondering the ins and outs of how, yes, you can legally withhold taxes under certain conditions.
Only if you're exempt for some reason and it's not due. You can't just withhold it legally, so that's nonsense for a start.
Now, the biggest question is going to be, how can you do this if you're PAYE? Obviously.
Yep, PAYE, exactly the same thing. Let's see what else we have here.
Once the actual bank has sold it to a debt collection agency or a DCA, that debt collection agency is now going to start contacting you via letters, via emails, via texts. I've seen people who get them every single day with all sorts of demands for you to repay debt that's never existed in the first place, either to the bank and definitely not to the debt collectors.
Right, I've seen a lot of videos like this going around saying that because the way that banks operate, money and credit is essentially created out of nothing, which it sort of is, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, if that makes sense. That's probably subject for another video. Therefore, they say that because it doesn't exist, sort of, you don't have to pay it. And the second thing is to do with the debt collection agencies, which I believe he's going to go on to talk about in a minute.
Debt collectors don't even have a right to contact you, but they don't really care about the legalities, and you will see that by their actions.
And that's not true. Obviously, if a debt collection agency buys the debt, which they do for pennies on the pound sometimes, they are buying the rights to recover that debt from you for their company. And this happens all the time. Debt is bought and sold all the time. So they can contact you. There's nothing in law to say they can't contact you about legitimate business. So I don't even know where this idea comes from.
They really are very bad. These guys really take the biscuit when it comes to breaching data regulations.
They're not breaching data regulations. I mean, there's a number of different ways to contact you. One is contractual, where it's required. Another one is consent. Another one is legitimate interest, and so on. So they're not breaking data regulations by contacting you as a company to whom you will owe money if they've acquired the debt from the original lender. There are certain situations where you might be able to challenge that. We've successfully challenged this for certain clients where, for example, there was no signature provided for the original contract, and it was one where it would ordinarily be concluded by way of a real signature, but there was none provided. The court accepted that they couldn't provide the original signature, therefore they couldn't enforce the debt.
To see how we sort this bunch of tow rags out, you need to watch part 3 of this video series.
Well, we won't be watching part 3. I'll be saying thank you for watching this. If you want me to do more reactions to these videos, I'm more than happy to do it. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.